Hey guys, so we're going to be going over the ACAP, and we're going to be talking about um, how to take this test. This is a new test. We haven't taken it before. We were supposed to take it last year, but then COVID happened and everybody got out of school. So this year's our first year taking this, and not only do we have to make sure that you have the tools to be able to take it, as far as the knowledge of all these things that we've been teaching you all year long, but we also need to make sure that you understand how to take the actual test. We have to train you on the test. So your teacher is going to post a link for you to be able to get into this yourself, but you're going to do ACAP Summative Online Tools and Training, and you'll click on that. It's the orange button. You are in 4th grade, so you'll click on grade 4 right there. And then English Language Arts, because we're working in English today, but obviously as we go through, you will be doing math or science and those kind of things. All right, right here it gives you a sample username and password. This is just so that you can get onto the test, the practice test. You'll have a new username and password when it's time to take your test. But for today, that's what we're going to put in. All right. And we're going to go through this as a training student. You're going to click on English Language Arts. It's going to load your test data. All right, if you can see the circles clearly below, then that means that everything is set up correctly and you're ready to go. All right, here are the directions. These directions tell you all kinds of little details about this this test. All right, it says if an entire question does not fit on the screen, a scroll bar may be available on the right side of the window, and you may be prompted to click the next arrow to view the remainder of the question. Some questions will include a passage. If the passage is more than one page, the number of pages will be shown on the bottom right of the passage. In order to turn the page, click the bottom right screen on the passage. You can click the bottom left part of the passage to look at the previous page of the passage. I'm going to show you these things in just a few minutes. You'll have some writer's tasks. A writing task will ask you to view the writer's checklist and type your answer in the space provided. To view the writer's checklist, select the Enlarge button when you are ready to write your answer. Select the Click to Respond button and then type your answer in the space provided. To answer most test questions, you will click on Answer Bubbles or follow specific directions. The tools at the top of the screen may be used to help you answer your questions. I'll show you one of those tools today. And we'll go over those as well here soon. All right, so we're ready to begin this test. So we're going to click Begin Test. Okay, now let me show you on this particular type of question. You have a passage. It's called Miss Mole Searches for the World's Most Wonderful Thing. And then it says underneath, an adaptation of a Korean folktale. Now, it says down here, page 1 of 7. So this story is longer than this one page. When you click on the side right here, it will turn the page for you, just like a real book. Isn't that so cool? And there are multiple pages to this passage, just like a real book. Oh, and then we come to Emperor Bauman's Challenge, a retelling of a Persian folktale. So that's a second passage. Okay, for the most part, as far as we know on these tests, you're going to have questions first about your first passage. This question is about the information in Miss Mole Searches for the World's Most Wonderful Thing. And so you'll answer that question first based on this passage. There is no really good reason for you to read the second passage until you get to the questions about the second passage. Now, did you hear me? You have to read the second passage, but just read the first one until you get to the questions about the second passage. Okay, so let's read Miss Mole Searches for the World's Most Wonderful Thing. Long ago, by the Kingen River, in the dark, rich soil beneath a giant stone sculpture named Miriek, there lived a curious mole named Miss Mole, who was determined to find the most wonderful, amazing thing in the world. Miss Mole asked her friends and neighbors, "What is the most wonderful thing in all of nature?" Everyone agreed. "It is the great blue sky." Miss Mole went up to visit Great Blue Sky and asked, "With your beautiful azure robe, you must be the most wonderful thing in the world." Now we're going to turn the page. "It is true that I am wonderful," he said, "but sun is more amazing. I can only swirl my blue robe when sun arises in the sky. When sun goes down, darkness falls." So Miss Mole went to Sun. She shielded her eyes from Sun's golden fire. "With your brilliance, you must be the most wonderful thing in the world." Sun laughed. "Cloud is more amazing," she said. "Cloud can cover me up and make me disappear." So Miss Mole went to visit Cloud. She watched Cloud change from soft layers like white cotton to gray sheets to shooting fire and to tears. "With your many moods, you must be the most wonderful thing in the world." "Oh, not at all," said Cloud glumly. "Wind is in charge of me. Wind can drive me across great blue sky." So Mole went to visit Wind. "With your grace and motion, you must be the most wonderful thing in the world." "I certainly am wonderful," blew Wind, "but sadly there is someone more wonderful than I am. Have you seen the statue Miriek? No matter how I roar in his ears, he does not flinch. I dance right into his eyes, and he does not blink. I've tried for thousands of years, and he does not move. Only someone very amazing could resist me like that." So Miss Mole visit Miriek. "With your calm granite strength, you must be the most wonderful thing in the world." Miriek murmured, "I am indeed great. I am the same in day or night, no matter what great blue sky does. Sun cannot burn me, cloud cannot make me disappear, wind cannot wear me down. Yes, I am great." Miss Mole held her breath. "But there is something even more amazing," said Miriek. Miss Mole sighed. "Below the ground," he continued, "working in the dark, rich soil beneath me, lives a small, kind creature with soft brown fur." Miss Mole looked at her own soft brown fur. Miriek was not finished. "This creature digs night and day and makes tunnels through the soil. If it digs enough tunnels beneath me, the soil will not hold me. I will topple and lie there like any rock in a garden." "That creature is the most amazing." His granite eyes sparkled. "Perhaps you know the creature I am describing." "I do," said Miss Mole. She thanked Miriek and scurried down a tunnel to tell her family and friends the most wonderful creatures in the world. All right, and that is the end of Miss Mole. So we're going to answer the questions about Miss Mole. Based on the information in Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing, how is Miriek different from the other characters? All right, the answer choices you have are: he has many different moods. He is able to make objects disappear. He remains the same in all situations. He rises to the sky and goes down when it gets dark. All right, how is Miriek different from all the other creatures? You'll have to go back in your text and you'll have to look. Now, if you thought that was going to give you the answers, you're wrong. You're going to have to look this up yourself in a little bit. But I'm just going to show you really quick that you can come up here and you can use this little button right here that says cross off. If you think that this one might be wrong, he rises in the sky and goes down as it gets dark, you can click on it and it makes a X come over that answer. So you can actually choose, you can look through them and you can automatically eliminate those silly answers. Now, if you didn't mean to do that and you wanted to take that X off, you can click on it again and it will go right away. And then when you're done, you'll click on the arrow. Okay, let's go to the next question. Like I said, I'm not answering this for you. You can do that yourself in a little while. Okay, this one has two answers. It has part A right now, and then we're going to answer part B in just a minute. Based on the information in Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing, who is truly regarded as being the most amazing? And then it gives you a few choices. So, if you think it was cloud, you would click on cloud, and you notice that it bubbles in cloud for you. All right, if you think it was sun, you can click on sun. If you think it was mole, you can click on mole. If you think it was wind, you can click on wind. If you look at it and you automatically know, oh, that's a silly answer, remember you can always go up and you can cross off something. All right, and I'm, like I said, not telling you the answer. You're going to have to figure that one out yourself. Okay, going to next. Now, this is part B. Which sentence from Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing supports the answer in part A? So we have quotes here, and you have to use text evidence. You have to prove it. Prove how you know it. So your answer to part A will depend on your answer to part B. If you thought a mole was the most wonderful thing in the world, then you're going to find a quote that shows how mole is the most wonderful thing in the world. And guess what? You're going to also have to look back in this text. You can still move this over here. So make sure you're using your text every chance you get. You need to be using this text and finding your answers. All right, we're going to move on. Now we have a questions about Emperor Bauman's challenge. So let's go to that one. And we're going to read through it. Long ago, the wise Emperor Bauman ruled over Persia. He cared deeply for his people. However, when he reached a certain age, he wished to step down from his throne. He called his sons together. It's time for me to choose a new ruler, Emperor Bauman explained. But that person must be worthy. Therefore, I'll give my diamond crown to the one who performs the noblest deed. Go out to the world for a year, then return to report your deed. At once his sons traveled to distant lands, eager to meet their father's challenge. In time they accomplished deeds. They returned and stood before their father. First, Emperor Bauman asked his eldest son, Amir, "What noble deed have you done?" Lifting his chin, Amir stated, "I carried the packs of a rich merchant. Every day I held his fortunes in my hands. Easily I could have slipped a coin in my pocket. Instead, I faithfully guarded his wealth." Emperor Bauman thoughtfully stroked his beard. "To be honest is not a noble deed," he concluded. "I, too, expect honesty from my servants." Next, Delir stepped forward to recite his tale with confidence. "I worked aboard a ship," Delir said. "At the final port, a puppy tumbled from the docks into the icy harbor, and I dove into the waters to save it." Emperor Bauman smiled, but then said, "You acted well, my son, but not nobly. It is our duty to help another living thing when we are capable of doing so." At last, the youngest son, Hamid, spoke. "Father, I worked on the royal road," Hamid said. "Another worker, Ghazi, carelessly let a wagon of stones crash into some buildings. He blamed me. I worked for weeks to repair them. Finally, I journeyed home and noticed a man napping beneath a tree. In his sleep, he rolled towards the edge of a cliff. It was Ghazi, but I still rescued him." "Yes," Emperor Bauman joyfully exclaimed. "Hamid, my crown is yours. Repaying a spiteful act with goodness is the noblest deed of all. Few have such wisdom or strength. You are a worthy emperor." All right, and that is the end of that story. So now it says, which sentence from Emperor Bauman's challenge shows the setting is in the past? So you'll go through and you'll figure out which one shows that it was from the past. That's a question about the setting. How do you know? All right, we're going to keep going. In Emperor Bauman's challenge, it says two actions, you have to read very carefully, suggest that Hamid is worthy of being an emperor. So when you go through, you're going to choose not one, but 2 choices, and it'll only let you choose 2. See that? But you have to make sure that you're not only choosing 1. So if you think it's C and D, great, you choose those 2. If you think it's A and B, you choose those. But you have to choose 2. Make sure you click on the letter where the pencil comes up. All right. Now here is one of those where you have to click to respond. All right, so when you click, you see this chart. We have no idea what to do. We need to go back and read the directions, don't we? Read the types and characteristics of literature. Move one type of literature into the chart to show whether Emperor Bauman's Challenge is a poem, drama, or prose story. Then move 3 characteristics that support the chosen type of literature into the chart. Okay, now we have not gone over this yet. We're going to before your test. However, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you a little bit and give you a little spoiler about what these different types of literature are. A poem, most of you guys have seen poems. Especially in things like Dr. Seuss, where you have a lot of words that rhyme. You have different stanzas. If you've read the lyrics to a song before, songs are a type of poetry. Where you have short little sections where you're reading through, like I said, sometimes with rhyming words and that kind of thing. A drama is a play where you have the character's name is out to the side, and then it gives directions for that person, and then it gives the dialogue of what that person says. It looks like a script. It's when you have, for example, like when if it said Billy is the name of a kid in a story, it says Billy, and then it says in parentheses right after that it says Billy is sitting down, and then it says he's saying, "Man, am I hungry." All he's supposed to say is, "Man, am I hungry." That's what Billy says in that play. So that's what that is. And then a prose story is more like a novel. It's more like your passages that we usually see. It's it's just a typical story. A novel holds as a prose story. So you're going to choose which one, and I'm going to tell you right now. Emperor Bauman is a prose story. I'm going to answer this one with you, and you click it and you drag it. And then you go over to the characteristics. A prose story has a plot. Remember, we did those plot diagrams for prose stories. It does not include stage directions. Dramas include stage direction. It does not have lines that rhyme. Those are poems. It does contain dialogue. Emperor Bauman in his story, it contained dialogue. It had people speaking. It also had paragraphs, didn't it? When you were reading through it, you should have noticed that there are paragraphs. And then it does not contain lines with a specific rhythm or a cast of characters. Those are the lines with a specific rhythm are for poems, and the cast of characters are for dramas. So when you have it all done, which we needed 3 characteristics and 1 type of literature, so we have that done, we're going to go down and we're going to click OK. And now you can see very tiny that in that box right there, it has our answer. Now we're going to click Next. Okay, which description best compares the points of view in both passages? So we're going to look at both passages. We've all been doing point of view. So remember, we have first, second, and third point of view. That should have been the first thing you thought of when you saw that we were talking about points of view. And we're looking at both. So guess what? You might have to go back and look in your story. And to look in your story, you just click on the other side. All right, let's look at Miss Mole real quick. If we look, when you take out the dialogue, for the most part, it's using a narrator that is outside of the story. So what would that be for Miss Mole? That would be third person. That's a third person point of view. So then Let's look at what Emperor Bauman's challenge is. When you're looking over his, we see the words he, um, his sons, as we're reading through this. So for Emperor Bauman, it's also going to be third person. It's talking with an outside narrator. Now, as we read through, we're going to choose the description that best compares. That means that there's going to be other options that are good, that could be right, but you're looking for the best one. That means read every single answer choice, every single one. So, A, Miss Small searches for the most wonderful thing, uses a first person point of view through a character, and Bauman's uses third person through a narrator. Now, is that true? We just went through that. Miss Mole was not first person. Miss Mole was not first person. It was third person. So we're going to cross that one out. That one can't be right. Okay. Miss Mole searches for the most wonderful thing, and Emperor Bauman's challenge both use third person point of view through a narrator. Now that's something that we noticed just a few minutes ago. But let's keep looking. We're not going to cross that one out, but we're going to keep looking just to see if there's anything that's a better answer. All right, so now we're going to go to C. Miss Mole searches for the most wonderful thing, uses a third person point of view through a narrator. It does. Let's see what it says next. Emperor Bauman's challenge uses a first person point of view through a narrator. No. We just said they both use third person, so let's cross that one out too. And then let's look at D. Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing, and Emperor Bauman's challenge both use a first person point of view through a character. Are they looking through characters in these? No, we said that they were third person. So you crossed out 3 different answers out of 4 answers. That means there's only one answer left, and that is, where did my mouse go? Oh, it's over there. Let's see here. There it goes. Not C. We want B. I'm so sorry, guys. My mouse is acting so crazy. There we go. We want it to say B. All right. Now, in the passages, Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing and Emperor Bauman's challenge are both folk tales with similar theme and pattern of events. The passages also include differences. Read each detail in the table and then place a check mark under the heading to indicate whether the detail describes Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing or Emperor Bauman's challenge or both passages. So we're going to use a table. All right, one character asks other characters questions. All right, which passage does that? Well, Miss Mole asks lots of questions. We know that one for sure. Emperor Bauman's challenge, that one character isn't really asking other characters many questions, although the Emperor does ask his sons, what noble deed did you do? So I think maybe both passages would work for that. Do you see how I changed my answer there? All right, then we're going to keep going. A curious character makes a decision to go on a journey. All right, which one did that? Emperor Bauman didn't do that. I think that was just Miss Mole. All right, then we're going to keep going. A character is chosen to be the new ruler. That only happened in one passage. That was in Emperor Bauman. Characters are competing in a challenge. Miss Mole didn't have any challenges, but Emperor Bauman did. Then one character decides the final answer. Let's see. Did Miss Mole decide the final answer to what the most wonderful thing was? Like, she kind of did, yeah. And so did Emperor Bauman. So that was both passages. And then we click OK. And see your table down there. You can see that you have your answers in. And you click Next. All right. Now the next question. Miriek in Miss Mole searches for the world's most wonderful thing, and Emperor Bauman in Emperor Bauman's challenge are alike in some ways. Write an essay analyzing how Miriek and Emperor Bauman are similar. Use evidence from both passages to support your response. You have to use evidence in this. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. You click this to enlarge it, and then you type right here. See, and I'm typing. Then your answer will probably look something like, in Miss Mole searches for the world's, oh, I misspelled that. The world's most wonderful thing, Miriek is very wise. He tells Miss Mole about the wonderful things that live in the ground below him. Then you'll say, in Emperor Bauman's challenge, the emperor is also wise. And we say that because we're comparing the two. We're not contrasting. We're not telling differences. We're telling similarities. So the emperor is also wise. He is looking for a noble leader for his country. Okay, your answer might look something like that. And then we need some evidence. So I put in, let's see, that Miriek tells Miss Mole about the wonderful things around him. That's part of text evidence. And then also that the emperor is looking for a noble leader for his country. That's some text evidence, but we could do better than that. We could even go back. Let's see if my mouse will let me do it. We can move this out of the way, and we can look back in the text, and we can add more text evidence. We can find quotes from this text, because that is what your teachers are always looking for, isn't it?